Welcome to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coach Show presented by GoMart. Go for good times, go for GoMart. With me now, I have head men's basketball coach Bob Bolen. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Jagger.
All right, Coach. Before last week, you went to West Virginia State. It's a tough loss, 82-79. But what I did want to talk to you about was last week. You started out the week with Charleston, 74-62 loss. It was only a 37-35 game and a half. They were able to make a run there about midway through the second half, take control of the remainder of the game. Just your thoughts on that.
Well, I thought we played well defensively for about 30 minutes, and then they beat us off the dribble a few times and were able to get good looks at threes, and they really shot the three extremely well. Mm-hmm. And, I thought it was a hard-fought game. We were 7 for 31 three-pointers, and I think we typically shoot better than that.
And then this past Saturday, you're at Seton Hill. One of the more crazier endings I think I've ever seen. The ball gets tipped in the backcourt. Kid shoots at full court, makes it at the buzzer, banks it in. Just your thoughts on that 73-72 loss at Seton Hill.
Yeah, we played great defense in the last 7 seconds. Paul did a tremendous job, and it's the first time I've been coaching a long time, and I hadn't been beaten on a 75-foot shot before, but it doesn't feel very good. Thought we played, good enough to deserve a win, but didn't get out of there with it.
And the bright spot, though, Amar Maxwell had a career high 16 points and 9 boards. But looking into this week, you got Salem for the Kids Day game on Wednesday. What have you seen at Salem so far?
Oh, they put 5 guys on the perimeter that all 5 can attack the basket. They shoot the three really well. They're 1-5, but 2 losses were to Seton Hill, which plays a zone the entire game. And the other 2 were to Gannon and West Liberty that pressed full court. So they really only had 2 games where teams played traditional, and they beat Shippensburg by 20, which beat Seton Hill. Mm-hmm. And then they lost after being up 18 against Wheeling. Wheeling came back and beat them at the buzzer. So Salem's a good team. Their record does not indicate what type of team they are.
And then in the fashion that you lost to Seton Hill, I know that's got to weigh kind of heavy on some guys. How do you make sure that the team puts that behind them and just keeps the focus on what's ahead?
Yeah, that's just what we're going to have to work on today at practice. That's hard to get up off the deck after, getting beat with a 70-foot shot. And we turned it over a couple of times at the end and missed free throws. If we don't have those turnovers and make the free throws, we're not, at that point. Mm-hmm. Now, I thought we played really well to be up 9 at one point, and we're up 9. They miss a 3, and I think they get kind of a phantom foul on that one. I've watched it, but that knocked it down to 6, and then we miss a free throw, and then they hit a shot, knocks it down to 4, and we turned it over. But then we were able to get stops after that turnover, and just didn't. We can play better down the stretch, and we have to learn how to do that.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this week.
Thank you, Jagger.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show presented by GoMart. With me, I have head track and field coach Dan Meyers. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Jagger, thanks for having me.
All right, Coach, there's a lot to be excited about coming off the cross-country season that you just had, but how do you feel you constructed the track and field roster for success this year?
Yeah, I think that like a lot of the, cross-country success, like you mentioned, I think that we're a lot heavier on the distance side than we've been in years past, and it's no secret that, some of the distance events, especially on the men's side in our conference, are some of the hardest events to qualify for. So we're hoping to get some marks down on the board for them. But, going across our other event groups, we have some upperclassmen like Bridget Knapp in the jumps, Charlie Bauman in the throws. Zach Hall is a freshman that we're bringing in the sprints. That he's going to be a nice pairing with Bruce Williams. And then, moving across to like some of the women's throwers like Janae Scott after the year that she had last year for us. I'm expecting some more big jumps, maybe not right off the bat, but I think this will be a great rust buster for her. And we're really excited at the addition of Addie Cottrell, who is a transfer from Frostburg. She's going to add some depth in those throwing events, and I know that our league's gotten a lot better in throwing with some transfers and some recruits at some other schools. But I just feel like, I don't want to forget Aaron Kuffner. It's going to be a multi for us this year, and hoping to take down some indoor records in the HEP and the 60 hurdles. But we're a lot more balanced team than we were this time last year. And I don't know how it's going to fare towards the end of the year when we get to the indoor conference championships. But our goal last year and our goal this year is every single year we try to qualify more people. And I think being more well-balanced will help. We'll have a lot more depth in some of the relays, so we're really looking forward to it.
And now looking at the schedule, you'll start off the season at Marshall this Friday, and then you'll go there again in about mid-February, just right before you go to the MEC Championship. Was that kind of done on purpose, or was that just kind of how the schedule fell this year?
It's kind of how the schedule fell. Marshall's been awesome these last few years, open up meets to us, and we're excited to open on what's going to be our conference, facility, conference venue. As I'll tell the kids, what we do on December 6th isn't going to dictate what we do in February. Mm-hmm. But, let's put some marks down. Let's show people that, like I told the cross team, let's show them that we've arrived. And let's get some strong marks down, and let's use that as motivation through the winter break. And, a lot of them will be home doing their workouts. And, the most important time of training, Coach Kyle's always said it, and it's December. And if they do their stuff over break and really hammer the stuff that we did this fall, I feel like on the sprint hurdle side that, the weather was so nice most of the fall. We got a lot more speed in than we normally have. Now we're going to be inside a lot this week, and we're going to see how the team handles a little adversity heading into the first meet.
And, the season creeps up on you fast. You'll be at, like I mentioned, Marshall this Friday. Just your expectations out of the group and, in the first meet of the season.
Honestly, I just want to see the togetherness of the group. And we practice in different locations. We don't always practice at the same time. So making sure that we're coming together and supporting our teammates, that's first and foremost. And secondly, it's making sure that, when it comes down to it, I know that we're in a sport that's very friendly, and everyone knows everybody on other teams, and it's a lot different than other sports. But what I really want to see is that when we get in the ring or we step on the track, that we have that killer instinct. Mm-hmm. And no matter how the event goes, if we go into it with the right mindset, we can keep building on that, from the physical aspect. So that's one of the things. And, at the end of the day, just have some fun. And I'm really excited to have this full group together, just as much fun as I had during the cross season. There's a lot of great individuals on that track side that bring a lot to our team, a lot of character. And, even though we weren't competing this fall, there's a lot of kids on our team that stepped up in regards to fundraising or helping at football games or, helping at War in the Way, whatever it may be. We have a lot of people, we have a lot of good team leaders in our group, and I'm excited to see what we do right off the bat.
Well, Coach, appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this week.
Yep, thank you.
This fall, GoMart's got your chance to kick your tailgating game up a notch. Now through the end of October, enter GoMart's Get in the Game contest for your chance to win the ultimate tailgate package. Win a $200 GoMart gift card, tailgating supplies, a pop-up tent, a portable grill, and a cooler. It's everything you need to pregame for your favorite team. To be entered to win, head to your local GoMart and scan the QR code in-store. Visit the GoMart app or GoMart.com to learn more.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show presented by GoMart. With me, our head wrestling coach, Dylan Cottrell. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, happy to be back.
All right, Coach, you're at the Carolina Clash this past weekend in South Carolina. You went 4-0 with a nationally ranked win over UNC Pembroke. Then you also beat Coker, Newberry, and Mount Olive. Had nine guys not lose, including Kyle Hommett going 4-0. Just your thoughts on the performance of your team.
Yeah, happy with the wrestling. One of the big things that we've been preaching and a lot more now is trying to wrestle matches like we want to wrestle in March. And so for us, for people that don't know a lot about wrestling, that means that they're wrestling a really open style and going out there not being afraid of taking chances. And I think we probably did our best representation of that this weekend, which led to some sloppy wrestling at times, which is good because now we can go and fix stuff. And so I really liked that we opened up. Maybe in the Pembroke match it was a little less of that than I wanted. That was the first match, but that match was weird. I was just talking to Coach Skiles, and luckily we're not the NFL or anything where you get fined and talking about the refs. But I've been in wrestling, obviously 25 years, and that was the worst ref match I've been in my whole life, which was crazy. And it was both sides. Like, we got calls that were absurd, and they got calls that were just, it was crazy. In our 149-pound match, Gabe Honorado, he got hosed, losing. And it's a shame because Gabe's ranked 8th or 9th in the country, and the guy we're wrestling's he's ranked 7th or 8th, or either one. He was one above Gabe.
Big match.
And we lost in overtime because the ref didn't know the rules and didn't wrestle an overtime period. Like, he called the match early. I can't make that up. He called the match early, and we're yelling, and he won't. And he says, "No, the match is over," right? And you go look in the rule book, and that's not the rule. And so Gabe didn't even get his chance in the position, and he loses. Now, flip side of that, we can't get there.
Yep.
We got to win before that. Yep. But it sucks because, he pushed really hard. He wrestled really hard and it was a good match, and we probably controlled it. We were on the legs a lot more. I would say that if you're watching the match as an eye test, you think Gabe's probably going to win this, and he loses one for that. And that's okay. We'll get it back, but that match was weird, right? And when you have that happen, it's hard to almost get in a flow with your matches because you got stoppages because everyone's complaining about this, and that. And so that was weird. Nothing against Lander because the event's awesome, and you can't control who the refs are, but that was the worst batch of refs I've ever seen in my life for college wrestling. Like it was really bad. And so our guys had to fight through some adversity in matches, which, that's a positive side off of it is like, a lot of our guys, they had some things not go their way from the ref, and they put their head down and just got back on the line and towed the line and was ready to wrestle, right? They weren't really out there complaining and, as much as I'm sure some of them wanted to and it might have been deserving. And some, I think they did a really good job of not letting their emotions get the best of them, going back out there and just towing the line. And I really liked that, about our team. But it was a good weekend. They wrestled really hard. Wrestled through positions, went for things. We hit a lot of stuff where, we preach to our guys, man, and it's a really simple concept, but if you create wrestling positions, you guys are better at wrestling than other people, right? And that's so easy for people to maybe hear, but wrestling's a tough sport, man, where, your confidence gets down a little bit and you get afraid to pull the trigger. Next thing you know, you're staring at people for 3 minutes when, you're a lot better. And so we had guys really open up, and I liked that a lot.
And then looking at the results, you're able to mix and match some guys in some different weight classes. Caleb Brooks bounced from 141 to 149, and then Nick Johnson, Isaiah Casto went 197, 285. What'd you like out of those guys being able to compete at different weights?
Yeah, really just with the way it's set up there, we were giving guys some breaks and jumping them up and kind of knew that they wouldn't really be at a disadvantage giving up weight in those situations. Those guys will continue to wrestle their normal weight class for the year. Now, Casto's a little different. He's been jumping around 197 in heavyweight, and he might continue to do so, or second half he might just go up to heavyweight and try to get bigger, right now with what he's doing. So I just think with the format of it being 4 matches in a day and a duel there with your team, it's nice to get some of your guys in different spots. Mm-hmm. It gave us opportunities to put some of our, so-called backups a chance to get in and wrestle with the varsity guys. And so that's more of just the team thing and getting more guys in there to get looks than it is anything else. We pretty much know where everyone's going to be at this point. So that's just more about mat time and maybe for some guys giving them a little break, mm-hmm. right? We have some guys that are a little dinged up, and you got Midwest coming up, which is, the biggest tournament of the year other than NCAA. So you want those guys who are a little dinged up who can wrestle to still get in there and scrap, but you also want to protect them as a coach a little bit on who maybe you're wrestling them against. So, with that, we were kind of able to pick and choose our spots on where we wanted to plug some guys in. You get them 2 matches, they get in there, they got a little shoulder, they got a little knee. We know, okay, this match, I think it's one you can really control it. Get out there, get a good match in, but not come off and get more banged up for next week. And that was what was really good about this weekend too, right? We really didn't have anybody get more banged up than the stuff that they've already had, right? A little bit of soreness here and there, or and so I think, as long as we get through this training cycle here, this hard week, we should be going into Midwest, ready to go.
And you mentioned the Midwest Classic. It's just in about 2 weeks. What's this coming week and the following week look like as you head into a big event like the Midwest Classic?
Yeah, so we'll taper a little bit for this one. So this week's going to be really hard for our guys. It'll be a tough week. We'll probably lift more this week, probably 3 times a week this week, and get some good conditioning in, a lot of hard wrestling. And then next week we'll probably taper, and it'll be a little bit easier trying to have those guys feel good. Now, the Midwest, though, it's going to be a little different for us this year because we're definitely second half of the year making some lineup changes. some of those we still have to figure out, but some of them we already know with the guys dropping weight. And so we're definitely not going to have all 10 of our starters at Midwest. We'll probably be wrestling 6 or 7 of our starters, and then 3 or 4, depending, maybe 2 and 8. We'll see of our starters. So we're not going to be at full strength for Midwest, but that's okay. I'm not really too worried about that. But Midwest it's crazy. It's 50 plus teams of Division II. It's other than 4 or 5 of the top schools, it's everybody there. So you really, it's the measuring stick for the year, and we really want our guys just going out there in that one and wrestling free and seeing where they're at, right? If that's I'm the best in the country, or if it's I'm number 7, we want them to know, hey, when I wrestle how I can, that's where I'm at right now. Not, I go in here and get 6th and I win every match by a point, and I just try to kind of game it. We don't want that. And so we're looking for our guys to really attack, be excited about getting an opportunity, because that's what it is, right? It's a great opportunity to see, okay, all this hard work, all I've done, where's it at, right? Where's my wrestling at right now? When I wrestle to the best of my ability, am I the best in the country, right? Am I 3rd best in the country as of right now? And so, yeah, Midwest is an exciting week, great tournament. But, yeah, we're not going to be completely fully armed up for that one. We got, our national champ, Gavin Kyocho's dropping down, so he's going to be out for Midwest. Hunter Ross is dropping down, so he's going to be out for Midwest as well. So those 2 guys will kind of get a break over the next 3 weeks to get their weight down for base come the 19th when we wrestle Salem at home.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and we'll talk to you here in a few weeks after the Midwest Classic.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show presented by GoMart. With me, I have head women's basketball coach Emily Stoller. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, Coach, for last week, you had a tough loss at West Virginia State, 97-95. But what I did want to talk to you about was last week's 109-92 win against UC. You had 12 total girls score. Todd Bunting had 23 and 12. Just your thoughts on that win.
Yeah, it's real early here in the Mountain East Conference play. I think, with a very new group of girls, that they're starting to see the competitiveness of the league, that, for me and, the players that I have brought back, we know the rivalry there with Charleston, and it was important to instill that in the new group of girls, and I think they played them well. I think, still we have a lot of things to work on. In game, I wasn't proud of how we closed things out, but, I think, heading back to it, they're starting to see that competitiveness here in the league and what it takes to win basketball games in this league.
And you talk about the league. You went back to non-conference play this week. You beat Pitt Johnstown 87-49 last night. You turned them over 44 times. Your thoughts on that win last night?
Yeah, I think, we're getting better. Each competition we're getting better, but still things that, we're taking away from games and that we're using that to work on and heading into the next games. We turned the ball over a great deal last night, and wasn't proud of that. However, I think that we did have effort for the full 40, and again, we're seeing that progress and that development with the group of girls that we brought in, mixing with the returner. So I am proud of that, and gaining that experience in the system and the style of play. Really early here, you're going to see a lot of those mistakes early, and it's our hope as coaches that we continue to coach to the best of our ability. And develop, to where, those mistakes are limited heading in deeper into conference play.
And then to finish out the week, tomorrow you'll host Salem, who I believe is 0-8 coming into tomorrow's game. It's the annual Kids Day game, so it'll be loud, be packed. Just how do you keep your girls' Vision 2020? You guys are, 6-2 now. Salem comes in 0-8, so how do you keep their Vision 2020 and don't overlook Salem? Yeah,
I think, heading back to last year and how, Salem played in the league, their first year in the league. They played every team very, very well. It came down to a buzzer beater putting us into overtime on our home floor last year by Jordan Shannon. And that's something, as coaches that we don't forget. And, that will be a topic of discussion heading into the game. I think the more important thing, looking forward to tomorrow, and it's, something, now I'm sitting here in the coach's position, but as a player here in this program, that was one of the most memorable days of my life, playing in front of a huge crowd of kids who look up to you and see you as their role model. And, so I think that's very, very, very important. And I'm very excited for the girls that I'm going to coach tomorrow to get to experience something like that.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on today, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.